since we are here in Abuja, all of you also are residents here. You are living witnesses to all the examples that were mentioned and particularly displayed on the screen by the Honorable Minister for Works and Housing. We have our share of vandalization in Abuja on the road infrastructure, the rail infrastructure, public building, street lights, signages, all of them. And as you drive through the city, you'll see them. And the effects are profound, as has been explained clearly. Probably the one that is most significant in Abuja has to do with the vandalization of covers for manholes. And these manholes are supposed to cover stormwater drainages, foul water drainages, telecommunication facilities. As you know, the roads in Abuja have embedded in them telecommunication ducts, where we have very, very expensive fiber optic cables and other cables that are under the underground cadastre. Just by way of statistics, a few weeks ago, we did some checks and we realized that we needed to replace immediately 400 manhole covers, 582 stormwater covers, 23,210 gully pot covers, 467 waterboard inspection chambers covers, 47 water hydrant covers, 756 telecommunication duct covers. Overall, we are taking off over 25,000 covers of one form or the other. And these are critical public assets that you and I own that are being vandalized. This is just one aspect. Many of the streets, when you notice blackouts, sometimes you might think it is public outage. It is not. The blackouts occur because somebody decided to dig out the cables. So there is something uniquely Nigerian which we don't see in other parts of the country. Why would somebody, we've had instances where officials saddled with the responsibility of providing security and providing needed supervision and inspection on public assets also connive to steal. For instance, many of our major arterial roads actually have dual cables, so that if one is faulty, immediately you move to the other cable while you repair. But we had an incident about 2 years ago. The officer that was meant, because ordinarily the man on the street wouldn't know that this is a double cable system. So the officer who was meant to cater for this protection also connived with vandals to vandalize the cable. I can go on and on. If you look at the Parkway, which is one of the major internal roads that we just trying to complete, from the Christian Center right through to the NTA, FCDA, across Muhammadu Buhari Bridge in Garki, and then Ramsankuti right through to Ring Road 1. While the project was still ongoing, we partnered with the Federal Road Safety and put on very beautiful road signages, because it's meant to be a one-way kind of movement right through to the Eradua Center. Within 1 month, the signages were removed. So this is really the reality of what is faced. So it's beyond criminality. I think it's something to do that has to do with the psychic. And the unfortunate thing is that we have this conspiracy of silence. People know that this is happening. Some people even see them do it, but everybody keeps quiet. And the security agencies will consider it as a minor crime, but it's not. Like my other colleagues mentioned, lives are involved. And no matter how expensive an asset is, I think the life of one Nigerian should be much more expensive. So what is the way going forward? The laws are there, as was indicated by the Honorable Minister of Works and Housing. But we have to all agree as a people that we need enforcement and we need to strengthen the laws. And then also, we need to understand that this is not a small crime, because criminality grows gradually. You could even say in a modular form. A person who will steal a cable at night, risking his or her life, would obviously graduate to other serious crimes. So it's very important that going forward, security agencies should really consider that as very important. In Abuja, for over 5 years, we have banned what we call babambola. These are the scavengers you see moving around. But we've simply not been able to enforce, because nobody is willing to enforce. A babambola will be moving around with a sack of items, supposedly trash. But I bet you once in a while, when you open that sack, you will be surprised what you will see. But at the junction, the babambola will pass. There will be a police vehicle there. The policeman will just allow him to pass, because as far as he's concerned, this is not a crime. It's minimal. So I think that's very, very important. Of course, in the Abuja light rail, even though it's not very, so that no rail system will operate without signaling and control, and these cables are meant to provide power to the signaling system. During the NSAS protest last year, we've seen cases where entire communities vandalized public property within their environment, removing roofs, removing doors, even chipping away and removing the metal frames. So how do you handle a community like this? So what we've tried to do is to engage with the judicial system. We've had a lot of arrests, but like was mentioned by the Honorable Minister of Transportation, you go there, the fines are minimal. As a matter of fact, there was a time we went to a market and identified so many of the manhole covers with collaboration with the Nigerian Civil and Defense Corps, who have the mandate of protecting public infrastructure as one of their objectives. We went to court. These are the samples. These are the exhibits. It took probably over 1 year, 1.5 for us to get a conviction. In the interim, we ended up not using the manhole covers so that we could replace where they were stolen, and they were there. So later we just decided that whenever we make arrests, we'll keep all these. And maybe I should keep quiet here. So having said that, going forward, I think we need to really work on the laws, and we need to enforce, and I think we all need to appreciate that it affects all of us, and it costs a lot of money. For instance, what we are trying to do with these man covers I just mentioned to you is to try to see how we can get 2.6 billion to have them repaired. But 2.6 billion is going to affect our other ongoing projects, which is going to affect you and I in health, in education, in transportation, and in security. So I thank you very much for listening.